Environment 1. Cali Fund News. Cali Fund was launched at the COP16 to the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD. About Cali Fund. Aim. To enhance biodiversity finance by collecting contributions from businesses that use genetic data from nature in their products and research. Significance. The first global biodiversity fund under the UN to receive direct contributions from businesses benefiting from biodiversity. Hosted by Multi-Partner Trust Fund Office, and PTFO, in collaboration with UNDP, UNEP, and the CBD Secretariat. Funding sources. Contributions will come from industries reliant on digital sequence information, DSI, which includes genetic data from plants, animals, and microorganisms. Companies in pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, agriculture, and biotechnology must contribute a portion of their revenue. Utilization of funds. Supports biodiversity conservation projects. Helps developing countries implement biodiversity action plans. Funds scientific research for better genetic data storage and usage. Resource allocation. At least 50% of the funds will go to indigenous peoples and local communities, recognizing their role in biodiversity protection. Global impact. A key step in achieving the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, KMGBF, goal of halting and reversing biodiversity loss by 2030. 2. Environment Relief Fund Amendment Scheme, 2024. News. The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, MOEF-NCC, has issued a notification amending the Environment Relief Fund, ERF, Scheme, 2008. Under the powers conferred by Section 7A of the Public Liability Insurance Act, PLIA, 1991. This section mandates the establishment of the ERF, which provides immediate relief to victims of accidents involving hazardous substances. Key amendments. Administration. The Environment Relief Fund, ERF, is now vested in the central government. Fund manager. The Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB, will replace United India Insurance Company Limited as the fund manager for 5 years, effective January 1, 2025. Disbursement. The fund manager will develop and maintain an online portal for fund disbursement, in consultation with the central government, based on orders from the district collector or central government. Investment. ERF funds will be invested in public financial institutions and savings accounts to ensure timely availability. Environmental restoration. ERF funds will be allocated for restoring environmental damage caused by hazardous substances, including their manufacture, processing, storage, transportation, and disposal. Audit. An independent auditor, appointed by the central government from a panel approved by the Comptroller and Auditor General, CAG, will audit the relief fund. Public Liability Insurance Amendment Rules, 2024. MOEF-NCC has also notified the Public Liability Insurance Amendment Rules, 2024 under PLIA, 1991, introducing the following key changes. Expands eligibility for claims to individuals with a direct and substantial interest in affected public property. Allows ERF utilization for environmental damage restoration. Increases insurance coverage to 250 Indian rupees crore for a single accident and 500 Indian rupees crore for multiple accidents. 3. Environment Protection, ENDOF Life Vehicles Rules, 2025. News. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, MOEF-NCC, notified the Environment Protection, End-of-Life Vehicles Rules, 2025. Key highlights of the rules. These rules will come into force from 1st of April, 2025. The rules cover all types of transport and non-transport vehicles, except agricultural tractor, agricultural trailer, combined harvester, and power tiller. Applicability. Applies to producers, registered vehicle owners, registered vehicle scrapping facilities, RVSF, automated testing stations, and other entities involved in vehicle testing, handling, processing, and scrapping of end-of-life vehicles, ULV. Exceptions. The rules do not apply to waste batteries covered under the Battery Waste Management Rules, 2022. Plastic packaging under the Plastic Waste Management Rules, 2016. Waste tires and used oil regulated by the Hazardous and Other Wastes Management and Transboundary Movement Rules, 2016. E-waste under the E-waste Management Rules, 2022. Producer responsibilities must fulfill extended producer responsibility, EPR, by purchasing an EPR certificate from either its own RVSF or any other authorized RVSF. EPR certificate, issued by the Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB, through a centralized online portal in favor of RVSF. Responsibilities of registered owners and bulk consumers. End-of-life vehicles, ULV, must be deposited at a producer's designated sales outlet, collection center, or RVSF within 180 days. Implementation Committee, constituted by the central government and chaired by the CPCB chairman to ensure effective implementation of the rules. 4. Wetland City Accreditation News. Indore and Udaipur have become the first Indian cities to achieve the prestigious Wetland City Accreditation, WCA, under the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands. About Wetland City Accreditation, WCA. Voluntary accreditation system recognizes cities WCA is that committed to conserving their natural or human-made wetlands. It offers international recognition and positive publicity for their efforts. Established, WCA was introduced during the 12th Conference of the Parties, COP12, to the Ramsar Convention held in Uruguay in 2015. Aim. To enhance the conservation and sustainable use of urban and peri-urban wetlands while ensuring long-term socio-economic benefits for local communities. To receive Wetland City accreditation, a city must meet the 6 international criteria set by the Ramsar Convention. Validity. Once granted, it is valid for a period of 6 years. Additions from India indoor. Sirpur Lake, a Ramsar site, is recognized for its water bird congregation and is being developed into a bird sanctuary. Udaipur, encircled by 5 major wetlands: Pikola, Fateh Sagar, Rang Sagar, Swarup Sagar, and Didtalai. Ramsar Convention. It is an international treaty that guides the conservation and sustainable use of wetlands and their resources. It was adopted in 1971 in Ramsar, Iran. It came into effect in 1975. India currently has 89 Ramsar sites. 5. For more wetlands included in the Ramsar Convention. News. Recently, for more wetlands have been recognized as Ramsar sites, increasing the total number in the country to 89. About 4 new Ramsar sites: Sakarakatai Bird Sanctuary, Tamil Nadu. Location. Situated near the Gulf of Mannar, along the Central Asian Flyway. Historical significance. The Sakarakatai tank was constructed in 1321 AD. Through Kudamar Matu, community participation. Biodiversity. Support species such as the painted stork, black-headed ibis, and others. Thirthangal Bird Sanctuary, Tamil Nadu. Location. Found near the Gulf of Mannar on the Central Asian Flyway. Fauna. Home to birds like the painted stork, black-headed ibis, and spot-billed pelican. Flora. Known for its babool, Acacia nilotica, trees. Ketchiapalriat is the first Ramsar site in Sikkim wetland, Sikkim. Alternative name, also referred to as the Wishing Lake, as it is believed to grant wishes. Locally, it is called Sho Dzo Sho, meaning, "O lady, sit here." Etymology, originally named Kachot-Palri, which translates to Heaven of Padmasambhava. Type and cultural importance, a Sirk-type wetland that holds sacred significance for both Buddhists and Hindus. Udwa Lake, it is the first Ramsar site in Jharkhand. Jharkhand. Name origin, named after Saint Adhava from the Mahabharata, a close companion of Lord Krishna. Conservation status, recognized as a wildlife sanctuary and an important bird area, IBA. Geographical features, the sanctuary comprises 2 water bodies: Patoran and Burhale. Avian diversity, hosts bird species such as house swifts, fishing eagles, and Brahmini kites. 6. Net Zero Banking Alliance and NZBA News. Wall Street's biggest banks, including Goldman Sachs Group Incorporated, etc., have announced their exit from NZBA. About Net Zero Banking Alliance, NZBA. Bank-led and UN-convened, the Net Zero Banking Alliance is a group of leading global banks committed to aligning their lending, investment, and capital markets activities with net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. It was established nearly 4 years ago with the goal of aligning financial institutions with global net zero targets and is part of the broader Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero, GFANZ. It serves as a climate accelerator under the United Nations Environment Programme Finance Initiatives, UNEP-FI, Principles for Responsible Banking, PRB. NZBA helps its members set and achieve net zero targets for sustainable banking. No Indian bank is a member of this alliance. 7. Global Plastic Action Partnership, GPAP. News. New members including Angola, Bangladesh, Gabon, Guatemala, Kenya, Senegal, and Tanzania joined GPAP. About Global Plastic Action Partnership. It is an initiative launched by the World Economic Forum aimed at combating plastic pollution worldwide. It focuses on promoting a circular economy for plastics, emphasizing reuse, recycling, and sustainable management to mitigate the environmental impacts of plastic waste. Present members, 25, including Maharashtra State from India. Key activities, helps countries in developing national action roadmaps and investment mobilization for waste management. India's efforts in plastic waste management. Plastic Waste Management Rules, 2016. Introduced extended producer responsibility, EPR, to minimize plastic waste by encouraging the recycling of plastic materials and reducing the overall plastic footprint. National Circular Economy Roadmap for Plastic Waste Reduction in India. Launched in 2023 in collaboration with Australia, this initiative aims to reduce plastic waste and promote sustainable practices. 8. Global Energy Alliance for People and Planet, GEAP. News. The GAPP and the International Solar Alliance, ISA, signed an agreement to establish a $100 million fund to support high-impact solar energy projects. About GEAP. It is a global alliance of philanthropy, governments, technology, policy, and financial partners. It aims to help emerging and developed economies transition to clean energy while promoting economic growth and universal energy access. Goals. Reduce 4 gigatons of future carbon emissions. Expand clean energy access to 1 billion people. Create 150 million new jobs. 9. Commission on Genetic Resources for Food and Agriculture, CRFA. News. The 20th meeting of the Commission on Genetic Resources for Food and Agriculture, CGRFA, 20, is presently taking place in Rome. About Commission on Genetic Resources for Food and Agriculture, CGRFA. It is the only permanent intergovernmental body that addresses the components of biological diversity for food and agriculture. It operates under the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, of the United Nations. It was established in 1983 as the Commission on Plant Genetic Resources for Food and Agriculture. Aim. To reach international consensus on policies for the sustainable use and conservation of genetic resources for food and agriculture and the fair and equitable sharing of benefits derived from their use. Members, 179 countries, including India and the European Union. Meetings. The Commission's regular sessions are held once every 2 years. 10. Multi-taxon Global Freshwater Fauna Assessment. News. The International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, has conducted the first global multi-taxon assessment of freshwater species for the IUCN Red List of Threatened Species. Key findings. 24% of the world's freshwater species are at risk of extinction. Major hotspots of threatened species include Lake Victoria, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. Lake Titicaca, Bolivia, Peru. Sri Lanka's wet zone. Western Ghats, India. Note: the Western Ghats is the only region in Asia home to two endemic families of freshwater fish that exist exclusively in groundwater and subterranean ecosystems. The humpbacked mosser, a critically endangered megafish capable of growing up to 60 kilograms, has also been discovered in this region. Threatened species. Crabs, crayfish, and shrimps face the highest risk of extinction, followed by freshwater fish. At least 4,294 species out of 23,496 freshwater animals are at high risk of extinction. The study also revealed that areas with high water stress, where there is high demand and low supply, and areas with more eutrophication, where an excess of nutrients in the water leads to overgrowth of algae and plants, are not home to higher numbers of threatened species than areas with lower water stress and less eutrophication. Among Indian states, Kerala has the highest number of threatened freshwater fishes, with 74 of its 188 fish species for which red list assessments are available categorized as threatened. Freshwater landscapes are home to 10% of all known species on Earth. 11. Inland mangrove of Gunnery. News. Gujarat has notified Inland Mangrove of Gunnery in the district of Kutch as a Biodiversity Heritage Site, BHS. It is Gujarat's first Biodiversity Heritage Site. About Inland Mangrove of Gunnery, a natural inland mangrove site, Kutch district of Gujarat. It is located at a distance of 45 kilometers from the Arabian Sea and 4 km from the Kori Creek, where seawater never approaches. Unlike typical mangroves, they do not get tidal water and do not have muddy or swampy conditions. It is the last remains of inland mangrove in India. It is one of only 8 such sites in the world. The area is home to around 20 migratory and 25 resident bird species. 12. Animal Welfare Board of India. News. The central government plans to change the Animal Welfare Board's old guidelines to make them more relevant in the current scenario, as well as ensure their effective implementation as part of efforts to prevent cruelty towards animals. About Animal Welfare Board of India is a statutory body set up in 1962 in accordance with Section 4 of the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960. It was started under the stewardship of late SMT Rukmini Devi Arundel, a well-known humanitarian. It functions under the Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry, and Dairying. The mandate of the board is to promote animal welfare in general and to protect animals from being subjected to unnecessary pain or suffering, in particular. It is headquartered in Balabgarh, Haryana. It advises state and central governments on the issues related to animal welfare, including cruelty meted out to animals. The AWBI periodically addresses the letters to the state governments and UTs regarding the complaints received and requests them to take necessary action against the offenders as per law. The state authorities are empowered to initiate appropriate action against the offenders meting out cruelty to animals and to take action as per the law. AWBI also gives financial assistance and other assistance to animal welfare organizations functioning in any local area, to impart education in relation to the humane treatment of animals, and so on. (13) National Board for Wildlife, NBWL. News. The National Board for Wildlife, NBWL, has rejected the Uttarakhand government's proposal to conduct soapstone mining near the Kedarnath Wildlife Sanctuary. About National Board for Wildlife. It is a statutory body constituted by the central government under Section 5A of the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, WLPA. It is worth noting that the Wildlife Act of 1972 did not originally include the NBWL. The NBWL was established later through an amendment in 2002. It replaced the Indian Board for Wildlife, which was formed in 1952. The NBWL is tasked with advising the government on wildlife conservation matters and granting approvals for projects within protected areas, PAs. According to the Wildlife Protection Act, WLPA, activities such as constructing tourist lodges, altering PA boundaries, diverting or destroying wildlife habitats, and denotifying tiger reserves cannot proceed without the NBWL's approval or recommendations. Structure of NBWL Chairperson. The Prime Minister. Vice Chairperson. The Minister in charge of the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Member Secretary, the Additional Director General of Forests, Wildlife, and Director, Wildlife Preservation. Members, 3 members of Parliament, 2 from Lok Sabha and 1 from Rajya Sabha. 5 non-governmental organizations, NGOs. 10 eminent conservationists, ecologists, and environmentalists nominated by the central government. Secretaries of various government departments. The Chief of Army Staff. Standing Committee of NBWL. The Standing Committee is an independent body under the NBWL. It is chaired by the Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. While the NBWL serves as a policy-making body that advises and contributes to the central government's wildlife protection policies, the Standing Committee primarily focuses on project clearances. 14. India Bioeconomy Report 2025. News. The India Bioeconomy Report 2025 has estimated India's bioeconomy to be valued at over $165 billion, contributing more than 4.2% of the country's GDP. About India Bioeconomy Report. It is an annual publication by the Department of Biotechnology and BIRAC that tracks the growth and performance of India's bioeconomy. The bioeconomy involves the industrial utilization of biological resources, plants, animals, and microorganisms, and the replication of natural biological processes to develop goods and services. It promotes sustainable alternatives to traditional, resource-intensive production systems. Applications of bioeconomy. Biofuels, bioplastics, medicines, synthetic biology, and agriculture are key areas where bioeconomy is making an impact. Example: India's COVID-19 vaccines, Covaxin, Covovax, developed using bioeconomy principles. Example: ethanol produced by microorganisms from crops like sugarcane and corn is a prime illustration of bioeconomy's role in reducing dependency on hydrocarbon-based fuels. Key findings of the India Bioeconomy Report. Market growth. India's bioeconomy has almost doubled from $86 billion in 2020 to $165 billion in 2024. The number of companies in the bioeconomy sector has increased by 90%, from 5,365 in 2021 to 10,075 in 2024, with expectations to double again by 2030. Sectoral contributions. Industrial sector, $78 billion, driven by biofuels and bioplastics. Pharmaceuticals, 35% of total bioeconomy value, largely led by vaccines. Research and IT, the fastest growing segment, particularly in biotech software development and clinical trials. Regional contribution. Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana, Gujarat, and Andhra Pradesh contribute over 2/3 of India's bioeconomy value. The eastern and northeastern regions account for less than 6%. Global comparison. India's bioeconomy to GDP share, 4.2%, is comparable to the US and China. However, countries like Spain and Italy have bioeconomy contributing over 20% of their GDP. 15. Mishti Scheme. News. Gujarat has emerged as the national leader in mangrove afforestation, covering 19,020 hectares in just 2 years under the center's Mishti Scheme. About Mishti Scheme. The Mangrove Initiative for Shoreline Habitats and Tangible Incomes, Mishti, scheme is a government-led initiative aimed at increasing the mangrove cover along the coastline and on salt pan lands. Mishti comes after India joined the Mangrove Alliance for Climate, launched during the 27th Conference of Parties, COP27, to the UNFCCC held in Egypt in November 2022. It was launched by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change on the occasion of World Environment Day, i.e., June 5, 2023. Mishti envisages the restoration/reforestation of mangroves covering approximately 540 sq.km. Spreading across 9 states and 3 union territories for a period of 5 years commencing 2023 to 24 onwards. The scheme is primarily focused on the Sundarbans Delta, Hooghly Estuary in West Bengal, India, and other bay parts of the country, but also includes other wetlands in the country. Under the Mishti scheme, the government is providing financial assistance to local communities to undertake mangrove plantation activities. The scheme also involves awareness campaigns to educate people about the importance of mangroves and their role in protecting the environment. It leverages the strengths and provisions of different government schemes and initiatives, such as the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, NREGS. The Compensatory Afforestation Fund Management and Planning Authority, CAMPA, Fund, and other relevant sources. 16. India's first comprehensive river dolphin survey. News. The Wildlife Institute of India, under the Union Environment Ministry, conducted the first ever comprehensive population estimation survey of river dolphins in India between 2021 and 2023. Key findings of the survey. The survey estimated the total population of Gangetic dolphins to be 6,324, with a range between 5,977 and 6,688 individuals. The study also found only 3 Indus River dolphins, all located in the Beas River in Punjab. The highest number of Gangetic dolphins was found in Uttar Pradesh, with 2,397 individuals. Bihar followed closely with 2,220 dolphins, while West Bengal recorded 815. Punjab was the only state where Indus River dolphins were recorded, with a count of 3 individuals in the Beas River. The survey identified certain stretches of rivers where dolphin populations were either abundant, hot spots, or sparse, cold spots. The Nara Kanpur stretch in Uttar Pradesh was one of the cold spots, with an encounter rate of just 0.1 dolphins per kilometer. Other cold spots included the Yamuna River, Kaushambi to Trikut, the Sharda River in Pilibhit, and the Rapti River from Balrampur to Siddharthnagar. On the other hand, some stretches had a high density of dolphins. In Bihar, the Chausa-Manahar stretch spanning 590 kilometers had an encounter rate of 2.20 dolphins per kilometer, while the stretch between Manahari in Bihar and Rajmahal in Jharkhand recorded an even higher encounter rate of 2.75 dolphins per kilometer. These areas were identified as key habitats for the species. To the point terms initiatives reports in news biodiversity context. Recently, a study published in Science Journal Leak highlighted biodiversity leakages happening across the globe. About biodiversity leak. Biodiversity leakage is a phenomenon where the displacement of nature-damaging human activities caused by protecting or restoring areas of land. In this process, conservation policies in one region inadvertently drive environmental degradation in another region. It occurs when restrictions on agricultural production in conservation areas lead to increased demand for imports from other regions, often rich in biodiversity. World Air Quality Report 2024. Context. According to the 2024 World Air Quality Report, Delhi remains the most polluted capital city in the world, with an average PM 2.5 concentration of 91.8 mg/m superscript 3. About World Air Quality Report 2024 published by Swiss organization IQ Air every year. It provides a detailed analysis of PM 2.5 levels from 8,954 cities across 138 countries, regions, and territories. Key findings for India. Delhi remains the most polluted capital city in the world, with an average PM 2.5 concentration of 91.8 mg/m superscript 3. The report also highlights that 13 of the 20 most polluted cities globally are in India, with Bernaghat, Assam, Meghalaya border, being the most polluted. India ranks as the 5th most polluted country in the world, with an average air quality index, AQI, of 50.6 mg/m3. It is 10 times higher than the WHO's recommended annual limit of 5 mg/m superscript 3. In 2023, India was ranked the 3rd most polluted country. Biennial context. India is in the final stages of preparing its first ever Biennial Transparency Report, BTR, part of its commitment as a signatory to the 2015 Paris Agreement on Climate, BTR.
Change.
About BTR. The BTR is a report prepared and submitted by parties to the Paris Agreement under the Enhanced Transparency Framework, ETF, that captures information on their progress in implementing the different aspects of the agreement. The different aspects are covered in the 5 separate chapters of the BTR, some of which are mandatory and some of which are optional. All parties to the Paris Agreement, except for small island developing states, SIDS, and the least developed countries, LDCs, are required to provide country-specific information on the implementation of the Paris Agreement in the form of BTR every 2 years. Wallace Line. Context. The Wallace Line is in news due to recent research shedding new light on the complex biogeographical patterns of Southeast Asia and Australia. About Wallace Line, it is a faunal boundary line which separates the ecozones of Asia and Australia. It was identified by British explorer Alfred Russel Wallace in 1863 during his explorations. It is an imaginary boundary line that intersects the Lombok Strait between the Indonesian islands of Bali and Lombok to the south, and extends north through the Makassar Strait between Kalimantan, Borneo, and Sulawesi. This line is important because it divides animals that belong to Asia on one side and Australia on the other. While the Wallace Line is a barrier for terrestrial species, it doesn't stop marine life. TrailGuard context. Similipal Tiger Reserve is the first reserve-ware AI system. TrailGuard AI system has shown success as an anti-poaching tool. It is an end-to-end, camera-based alert system designed for enhancing wildlife conservation and promoting human-wildlife coexistence in remote areas. It autonomously detects target objects and transmits real-time alerts that can trigger rapid response to entry by poachers or illegal loggers, wildlife entering agricultural or pastoral lands, or status of endangered or exotic invasive species. It transmits human and wildlife activities in remote areas in under 30 seconds, enabling real-time interventions. Kampala Declaration. Context. The African Union, AU, Extraordinary Summit on the Post-Malabo Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program, CAP, adopted the Kampala CAADP Declaration. About Kampala Declaration, it succeeds the Malabo Declaration, 2014, on accelerated agricultural growth and transformation for shared prosperity and improved livelihoods. Implementation period, 2026 to 2035, outlines 6 key commitments aimed at transforming and strengthening Africa's agri-food systems. Species in News China Tree. Context. The Jammu and Kashmir Forest Research Institute, JKFRI, has launched Digital Tree Adhar Initiative for the conservation of the China tree. About China tree, it is also known as the majestic China and Oriental Plane tree. China is a maple-like tree with a huge canopy. It is found in the cool climate regions with sufficient water, taking 30 to 50 years to mature and 150 years to reach its full size. It is believed that Mughal Emperor Jahangir coined the term China. Kashmir is home to China groves, with Ganderbal district having the highest number of China trees. China also grows in Jammu's Chenab Valley and in the Pir Punjal Valley. Rhododendron Wadi tree. Context. Recently, a study highlighted the endangered rhododendron wadi in Nagaland. About rhododendron wadi tree, it is a shrub or tree and grows primarily in the temperate biome. It is endemic to Manipur and Nagaland, especially found growing in its natural habitat at Zuko Valley, Nagaland. Characteristics. It is an evergreen plant. Flowering occurs from end of February to April. Anthurium flowers. Context. India successfully exported anthurium flowers from Mizoram to Singapore for the first time. About anthurium flowers, it is a tropical flowering plant valued for its ornamental appeal and air-purifying properties. Grown mostly indoors, it helps remove toxins like formaldehyde, ammonia, toluene, xylene, and allergens from the air. It is included in NASA's list of air-purifying plants due to its ability to improve indoor air quality. Geographical distribution. Native region, Americas, from northern Mexico to northern Argentina and parts of the Caribbean. In India, widely cultivated in Mizoram and other northeastern states. Rusty. Context. For the first time ever, the elusive rusty spotted cat was found frolicking in the jungles of West Bengal's Purulia district recently. About rust. Spotted cat, it is the world's smallest and lightest known cat. The species has been recorded in dry deciduous and semi-deciduous forests in northern and central India, western Ghats, Kutch and Rajasthan, and peninsular India, besides Nepal and Sri Lanka. Physical feature. The eyes are fairly large with irises of grayish-brown to amber. Its large eyes may be an adaptation to its nocturnal behavior. India has 80% of the cat's total population. IUCN status equals near threatened saffron red-tailed damselfly context. Recently, 2 naturalists have spotted the saffron red-tailed damselfly for the first time in Karnataka along the Netravati River. About saffron red-tailed damselfly, it is a rare species endemic to the western Ghats of India. They are seen in streams surrounded by thick vegetation and usually found near slow-moving forest streams where they rely on pristine water quality for their life cycle. The presence of them is an indicator of a healthy ecosystem as they are highly sensitive to environmental changes and pollution. Habitat of damselflies. Damselflies are found mainly near shallow, freshwater habitats and are graceful flyers with slender bodies and long, filmy, net-veined wings. White-winged duck. Context: a pair of rare endangered white-winged ducks, Deo Han, which is the state bird of Assam, was spotted in Dang Patkai National Park by conservationists and forest officials recently. About white-winged duck, it is a large, rare, and endangered species of duck found in freshwater wetlands and dense tropical forests of South and Southeast Asia. In Assamese, it is known as Deo Hans or spirit duck because of its ghostly call. It is considered one of the most threatened waterfowl species in the world. IUCN status: critically endangered distribution. Prefers dense tropical and subtropical forests with slow-moving rivers, swamps, and wetlands. Found in India, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, Indonesia, Sumatra, and Malaysia. In India, it is mostly found in the Dabru-Saikhowa National Park, Kaziranga National Park, and the wetlands of Arunachal Pradesh and Assam National Park/Wildlife Sanctuary in News. Type Shore Wildlife Sanctuary. Location: situated in Yavatmal district, Maharashtra. Known as the Green Oasis of southern Maharashtra due to abundant water resources from rivers like Purna, Krishna, Bhima, and Tapti. Geography: the sanctuary is located in a basalt region created by ancient volcanic lava eruptions. The terrain is hilly and undulating, offering a diverse ecosystem. Flora: rich in vegetation, including herbs, grasses, and bamboo forests. Fauna: home to a wide array of wildlife such as hyenas, cheetal, spotted deer, blackbuck, somber, jackal, wild boar, wild cat, bear, and blue bull, peacock, monkeys, etc. Desert National Park, DNP. Location: it is situated in the Thar Desert, near Jaisalmer, Rajasthan. Major lakes: Rajbal Lake, Malak Taleo, and Padam Taleo. One of the most interesting features of the DNP is the presence of fossils from the Jurassic period. Vegetation: it falls under the thorn forest type. It has sparse vegetation with open grasslands, thorny bushes, plantations, and sand dunes. Flora: dominant tree species, dak, ranj, salai, and palm. Kedri, Prosopis cineraria, is widely found and is protected by the Bishnoi community. Fauna: key species, chinkara, desert fox, Bengal fox, Indian wolf, desert cat, hare. It is home to the endangered Great Indian Bustard, found in relatively fair numbers by Tarkanika National Park. Location: it is located in the Kendrapara district of Odisha. The national park is essentially a network of creeks and canals which are inundated with waters from the Brahmani, Baitarani, Damra, and Padasala rivers, forming a unique ecosystem. It is India's second largest mangrove ecosystem after the Sundarbans. It is also designated as the second Ramsar site in Odisha after the Chilika Lake. Flora: mangrove species, casuarinas, and grasses like the indigo bush. Fauna: it is home to the largest congregation of the endangered saltwater crocodile in the country. The Gahermatha Beach, which forms the boundary of the park in the east, is the largest colony of the olive ridley sea turtles. Bhimgad Wildlife Sanctuary, BWS. Location: it spans over Western Ghats in Belgaum district of Karnataka. It has been named after Bhimgad Fort, constructed and commanded by Shivaji in 17th century as a defense from Portuguese troops. It shares its boundary with the Dandeli Wildlife Sanctuary, Bhagwan Mahavir Sanctuary, Mallam National Park, Netra Valley Wildlife Sanctuary. Madai Wildlife Sanctuary BWS forms the headwaters of a number of rivers like Tillari, Malaprabha, and Madai. The forest is also famed for its barapede caves, which serve as the only known breeding area of a threatened species on the verge of extinction called Rotten's free-tailed bat. Flora: it mainly comprises a combination of tropical and subtropical moist broadleaf forests and grasslands. It also hosts a number of medicinal plants. Fauna: elephants, king cobras, wild dogs, foxes, cheetals, spotted deer, somber, sloth bear, gaur, leopards, and tigers. Ramadevara location: Ramadevara Betta Hill Range, Ramanagara. Betta Vulture, Karnataka. Sanctuary. Significance: India's first and only vulture sanctuary, established in 2012. Declared an eco-sensitive zone, ESC, in 2017 to protect endangered vultures. Vulture species found: Indian long-billed vulture, Gyps indicus. Egyptian vulture, Neophron percnopterus. White-backed vulture, Gyps bengalensis.